Thank you for joining me on this adventure. Your presence means the world to me. Welcome, curious minds, to our video that explores the ins and outs of Fishguard and Goodwick. Fishguard and Goodwick is the name of a community that wraps around Fishguard Bay on the northern coast of Pembrokeshire, Wales. It comprises the two towns of Fishguard and Goodwick, with the neighbourhoods of Dyffryn, Harbour Village, Penyraber, Lower Town, and Stop and Call. Within the community are two railway stations and Goodwick Ferry Terminal, which is the terminus of the London to Fishguard Trunk Road. Now, we shift our focus to history, a topic that deserves our attention. The two towns of Goodwick and Fishguard were administered separately until 1934. In that year, the Fishguard Urban District and Goodwick Urban District were merged to become Fishguard and Goodwick Urban District. Fishguard and Goodwick Urban District was abolished under the Local Government Act 1972, with the area becoming part of the district of Preseli, Pembrokeshire on 1 April 1974. A community covering the former urban district was established at the same time, with its council taking the name Fishguard and Goodwick Town Council. As we enter this new chapter, let's navigate the complexities of governance and unravel its multifaceted nature. The community has a council called Fishguard and Goodwick Town Council. 3 wards elect a total of 14 council members: Goodwick 5, Fishguard North West 4 and Fishguard North East 5. The council elects a mayor on an annual basis from among the elected councillors. The council is based at Fishguard Town Hall in Market Square, Fishguard. The time has come to unravel the secrets behind topography and gain a deeper understanding. The 3 wards take in 3 areas of habitation, each fronting onto a section: Fishguard Bay, a sheltered bay on the north coast of Pembrokeshire, South Wales. The coastline of the bay is entirely within the community boundary. Much of the shoreline has substantial cliffs, although the section between the two towns, known as the Penyraber, has a wide beach and leads to an area of flat marshland, and the River Gwon at Lower Town Harbour flows from the wooded valley of Gwon. Goodwick Ward includes the town of Goodwick on the northeast corner of the bay and Harbour Village alongside the ferry terminal. The northwest side of the bay is dominated by the major ferry terminal, at which the railway and there terminate, and from which 2 ships a day sail to Rosslai, Europe, Ireland. Inland from Goodwick are the 2 settlements of Stop and Call and Dyffryn. Within the bay itself are 2 long breakwaters ensuring safe port moorings, and between the ferry terminal and the outer breakwater is the Fishguard lifeboat station. North of the outer breakwater, the community boundary takes in the east coast of Strumble, heading including the rocky headland of Pen Anglers. The Penyraber is a structured seafront and beach facing Fishguard Bay, including the Ocean Lab Visitor Centre. Projecting northeast from the Penyraber is the inner breakwater, whilst on the inland side is Goodwick Moor Nature Reserve, 15.6 Hove reed bed and mire, home to otters and water voles, and managed by the Wildlife Trust of South and West Wales. Fishguard North West Ward has no coastline, occupying the western part of the town of Fishguard south of the and west of Wallace Street. The area includes the southwestern half of the historic centre of Fishguard Upper Town, with significant areas of housing and the Gwon Senior School, for which major rebuilding plans were announced at the end of 2015. Fishguard North East Ward includes the other half of the historic Upper Town core, and an area of 20th housing known as Penyraber, beside the cliffs of Saddle Point. It also includes the steep slopes of the Lower Town area and the quayside of the picturesque Old Harbour. The harbour and Lower Town were the location used by Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor for the 1972 film of Dylan Thomas's Under Milkwood. The ward also includes the headland east of the town, where the Fishguard to Bangor Trunk Road runs northeast out of Fishguard, with sharp bends and steep gradients as it climbs up to the cliff top near Castle Point. As we enter this new phase, let's navigate the complexities of protected sites and discover its practical applications. Within Fishguard and Goodwick community there are a wide variety of protected sites, from rocky cliffs and ancient monuments to listed buildings and 3 conservation areas. As we venture forward, let's examine geology SSSI in detail and gain a deeper appreciation for its significance. The cliffs either side of Fishguard Lower Town Harbour are an SSSI notable for its geology. From Saddle Point on the western side, round to Castle Point on the eastern headland, the geology has legal protection because of its notable Ordovician pillow lava, in which the Lamvern series is well demonstrated. Many of the rocks of Pembrokeshire have their origins some 460 million years ago in vast volcanic outpourings of ash and tuff, and more rarely flows of lava, which, as here, cooled into a number of pillow formations. Let's now turn our attention to National Park and uncover the fascinating insights it brings to the table. Although the Pembrokeshire Coast National Park includes almost all of the coastline, it has 3 gaps, of which one is Fishguard and Goodwick. Most of the community is excluded from national park jurisdiction. Several lengths of the community boundary are also the boundary to the national park, both to east and west. Only 2 small areas of the community are within the national park, these being the Castle Point headland north of to the east, and the northwest end of the community along the Pen Anglers headland of Strumble Head. For these areas, the park is the legal planning authority, unlike the rest of the community, for which Pembrokeshire County Council has that responsibility. In the next portion, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of scheduled monuments and examining its broader implications. There are 3 scheduled monuments in the community. 2 chamber tomb sites are prehistoric, and the old castle is a post-medieval site, gone when burial chambers, a line of foot chamber tombs forming a Neolithic cemetery on the hillside above the ferry terminal at a nearby car park amongst the housing estate provides an access to the footpath that runs past them. Penyraber Burial Chamber, a Neolithic cromlech with a large capstone in a grassy field north of Penyraber Farm, west of Goodwick at Castle Point Old Fort, was built in as amidst fears of Napoleonic invasion. It now has a selection of cannons housed on the ramparts. In this part of the video, we'll be delving deeper into listed buildings and analysing its key components. 2 buildings within the community are listed. Grade A Plus Glynwymel is a country house, subsequently a hotel built in for Richard Fenton, a Pembrokeshire historian and poet. The house stands at the south end of Glynwymel Road in Lower Town. Herman Baptist Church is the earliest known Welsh example of a wide arch breaking into an open pediment, a feature that came to dominate non-conformist chapel facades across Wales by the mid-19th century. This facade also features 4 Doric pillars over a central porch. The chapel was built in 1832, designed by either Daniel Evans or his father David Evans of Fishguard. The interior is also substantially from 1832, with 3-sided gallery, wooden pillars and box pews. The chapel stands on the south side of High Street. There are also 161 Grade I listed buildings across the 2 towns, including shops, houses, churches, inns and public buildings. The largest density of these is in Fishguard Town Centre, which has 112, particularly along the Market Square and Main Street, Hill Terrace, Tower Hill and Hamilton Street, with another heavy cluster along High Street and West Street. It includes several terraces on Park Street and Notopus Street. The lime kilns on the Slade and Farm buildings at Muswin are also listed. In Fishguard Lower Town there are a further 35 Grade II buildings, mostly harbour-side cottages, clustered around Key Street, Bridge Street, Newport Road and Glynwymel Road. In Goodwick there are 14 listed buildings, particularly in the centre, including the Lifeboat Memorial Institute, 2 churches and several houses and cottages. Without further ado, let's move on to the topic of conservation areas. This community has 3 of Pembrokeshire's 24 conservation areas. These afford a wide area protection for the special character of an area, regulating the building construction and alterations within the protected area and influencing the landscaping of outdoor spaces. The 3 areas match closely to the 3 historic settlement cores, and to the clusterings of the listed buildings. All three conservation areas were first drawn up in 1976, had a revision in 1992 and an appraisal in 2016. Lower Town Fishguard Conservation Area. Lower Town is thought to be oldest of the three settlements, growing up around the old harbour. The 2016 Conservation Area Appraisal affirms the maritime history and coastal landscape as key significant features, and the resulting narrow streets, quasi-buildings, constrained building plots and separation from the rest of Fishguard give it the picturesque value that the Conservation Area Management Plan seeks to protect and enhance. The conservation area is 19.23 ha and covers the quay and hillside to the north, along the Gwon Valley, and adjoins the Fishguard Conservation Area where the main road climbs up from Lower to Upper Town. Fishguard Conservation Area Upper Town. The special characteristics identified in the 2016 appraisal included the dramatic coastal setting, the mix of buildings from the 17th, 18th and 19th centuries, the marketplace with radial streets, historic shop fronts, narrow streets and alleyways, and the extreme topography separating the upper and lower towns. The town had a medieval origin and Norman tassel, but its prosperity increased as fishing and coastal trade increased through the 17th and 18th centuries. The sheltered harbour served both trading vessels and those travelling to Ireland, and allowed ancillary industries such as boat building and rope making to thrive, and the townscape retains many elements from that period of prosperity. 18.35 ha of the historic core of the town and the former industrial area of the Slade, leading down to the shoreline, are included in the conservation area. Goodwick Conservation Area. Goodwick as a settlement saw its period of growth into a town later than Fishguard. Although a maritime history and coastal setting are noted as significant in defining its special character, it is the period of late 19th and early 20th century growth that defines the town's character. With the 1906 arrival of the railway and the use of Goodwick Harbour for transatlantic liners, Goodwick had a fashionable heyday in the Edwardian period, and the Victorian and Edwardian shops are identified as being key parts of Goodwick's character. The conservation area covers 29.53 ha including the town centre and the residential streets on the hillside northwest of the railway and ferry terminal. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your support and I'll see you in the next video.